Hi, welcome. Welcome to another webinar. This time we're going to talk about something that I have experienced at 33 years old, rheumatoid arthritis. And I know that we think that it's an elderly disease. It doesn't have to be. And getting through that diagnosis, getting through understanding of what rheumatoid arthritis really is, gave me a new perspective on life. And in this perspective, I really believe that there is nothing that we cannot do. And this is where two of my mottos come from. First one is anything is possible. And second one is if there's a will, there's a way. All you have to do is really believe it and keep that in mind through this webinar. So this is a presentation on rheumatoid arthritis. And I would like for you to keep in mind that this is for educational purposes only. This is for me to share my experience, what I've done, what worked for me, and what I learned about this disease throughout the years. If you plan on doing anything, please consult your practitioner. Always do what your doctor tells you to do. I have nothing to do with that. Simply, I'm educating you on a different perspective and what actually worked on me. So I want you to keep in mind that this comes from someone who was failed by conventional medicine, and I had no other choice but to take matters into my own hands, and so I did. So a little bit about me. Hi, I'm Lena Bednarek. I am a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. I hold a master's degree in herbal medicine and acupuncture. I hold bachelor's degree in nutrition, and I'm a certified health coach in recall healing, which is very much involved in any disease because our emotions play a huge role, and no one ever explained the process to us. And I was diagnosed with 9 autoimmune diseases 11 years ago, out of which 2 were unconfirmed because I had beginning of multiple sclerosis that went away very quickly with my herbal protocols. And I had unconfirmed IBD because I never said yes to a biopsy. My first diagnosis was lupus, then it went down the hill, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, mixed connective tissue disorder, Raynaud's, Hashimoto's. I'm not sure if I'm missing any. There were so many. And today I'm in full remission. And it didn't happen by magic. It happened by logic, by me finding out what actually caused my immune diseases. And everything has a reason. We do not just wake up being sick unless you were born with a severe genetic dysfunction, a genetic mutation, and you were told from the very beginning that you are sick. This is something completely different. I woke up one day with severe symptoms, but those symptoms my body tried to take care of for years. And so I literally had symptoms for years. So I just want to share with you, I am in total autoimmune remission, and I share my story. And this rheumatoid arthritis is one of the diseases that I was able to reverse completely. And so I discovered on my journey that any sickness, any condition, any disease has 3 aspects. And that is a physical aspect, that is an emotional aspect, and that is an energetical aspect. When we address all 3 aspects, magic happens. But notice how our system has been designed. Western medicine addresses just the physical, and not very good if you ask me, because most doctors, all doctors, are not trained in nutrition at all. And nutrition plays a huge role on how our body functions. And the emotional aspect, we are told, oh, if you have emotional issues, go to see a psychologist, go to see a psychiatrist. I did for years, and it didn't work. It was like going to a person to talk about others behind their back for an hour and paying for it. It brought no resolution whatsoever because, again, psychology is not trained in providing solutions. And that's why it doesn't work for most of us. We are addicted to our therapists. We go to therapy all the time, and yet we cannot function on our own. And then finally, the energetical, which is the energetical aspect, which is completely traditional Chinese medicine because it is based on everything is energy. In a sense that you hear it a lot, probably from a lot of masters, a lot of wonderful people out there who practice meditation. But when you really get down deep into it, you're in awe how our entire world, even you watching this webinar, you are brought here by energy. And it's just beautiful aspect of our healing. Energy can become stuck or energy can be depleted. And that's when disease is born. There are ways to replenish our energy. It's literally like replenishing your mood. And we will talk about it later. So every time I start from the Western medicine point of view, I give you a definition, their causes, their treatments, in order for you to have a better understanding. Because perhaps your doctor didn't have 5 minutes to spend with you to explain to you exactly what conventional medicine considers rheumatoid arthritis. They say it's an inflammatory disease where the immune system attacks the joint lining, synovium, causing painful swellings, stiffness, especially in the morning, and potential joint destruction. And if you know, if you follow me along on Instagram or you watched my previous videos, you know that inflammation can be caused by anything, anywhere. And that's so that definition to me, it does not really explain where it's coming from. There's no reason behind it. And I can provide you all the reasons that happened to me because I discovered my root causes. So in Western medicines, the causes are unknown. And yet 1.3 to 1.5 million adults in the United States suffers from rheumatoid arthritis. You don't understand how debilitating this is unless you have it. My fingers literally turned to the side and they were like this. I couldn't move them. My knees were so swollen, I could barely walk. When I was diagnosed, my son was just born, my third son, and I couldn't carry him down the stairs. I cried every time I went down the stairs. It's very emotional for me because this pain taught me a lot. Every pain is there to teach us a lesson, guys. And so conventional treatments include, of course, painkillers, corticosteroids, DMARD, which is disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drug, and they consider chemo drugs like methotrexate, like that. I was actually prescribed that drug at the very end of my treatment, which I refused because my second rheumatologist said there's nothing else they can do for me. I fired my first rheumatologist because I was getting worse and worse and worse. And my second one, of course, didn't do any better. It's not their fault. Western medicine does not train them to look for the causes. They literally do everything they can to suppress the symptoms. But if the cause is still there, the symptoms will keep on coming back. And nothing you do will ever end this cycle unless we actually find what was causing it. And there is a lack of support in the medical system. This is very clearly, if your doctor was successfully able to reverse your rheumatoid arthritis, you wouldn't be here watching this video. So they don't talk to you about your diet. And most of our diets are inflammatory. And I highly, highly recommend you watch my video on intestinal and bloating. You may be surprised and learn new things. They don't talk to you about lifestyle, about your movement, about your poise, about your thoughts. There's no, they never address any traumas. They never talk to you about stress. They tell you, oh, do something to release your stress, but they don't go into depths on where even does stress come from. They do not discuss any other factors with you. They concentrate, oh, you have pain, you have this, let's do this. And it's very limiting for the patient. The patient has no options. For many of us, we really have to take matters into our own hands. And so when do we look at the emotional aspect? When all else fails, we consider emotions. And this is the biology of the cell, which I would like to explain to you. So we address emotions when your diet is perfect, you're exercising, you're thinking positive, you have the right mindset, you're doing everything right, and the pain comes back and it comes back and it comes back. Then we're like, okay, it must be deeper. If your tissues, your cells still show a symptom, because body is like a map. It will always communicate with you no matter what you do. It will send you signals either of health or of sickness. That's it. That's all the body does. And so, what is the biology of the cell? So, let me explain this process to you because it's fascinating. There's a wonderful documentary on Gaia TV. It's called What the Bleep Are We? And it explains it all. This is actually scientific. So, when you have a thought about yourself, which comes from your core beliefs, okay? Your core beliefs influence your thoughts. So, if you have a thought about yourself or about the world, positive thought or negative thought, it will your brain will release neuropeptides, and those neuropeptides literally enter your cells, telling them what to do. So your emotions affect your entire body. Excuse me if you hear my cat meowing. He's calling me. He's very, he has to do it the exact time I'm recording. So we can say that your health, your physical body, is a manifestation of your emotional state. The more positive you are, the more supportive you are, the more love you notice in you and in others, the body then reflects that. And we will talk about where the rheumatoid arthritis comes from, what kind of thoughts create rheumatoid arthritis based on the biology of the cell. So keep it in mind. First, we have our beliefs. I have a wonderful program on discovering your beliefs on my website, umlacademy.com, because the hardest part is to know what beliefs drive your thoughts, and they come from childhood. So we have our beliefs that create our thoughts. The thoughts then create the neuropeptides in the brain. The body sends it to the cells, and then cells either thrive or die. So they're either sick, mutated, or they're healthy. Nothing in between. And one day you wake up with symptoms and you're asking yourself, where did it come from? It came from your thoughts. The energy of our thoughts creates our reality, starting with your body. You may not agree. This is why I said I'm sharing my story, because this is exactly true about me. This is how I am in recovery, in full remission, because I changed how I think. Not just that. I changed my diet, my lifestyle. I changed who I hang around with. And I changed every aspect I could have about myself. And then the body simply received new instructions. Instead of destructive thoughts, I started sending supportive thoughts. And it worked for me. There's many wonderful books you can read on this subject. So I wanted you to have an understanding that your thoughts affect physiological processes within your brain. So recall healing. The recall healing is a branch of German New Medicine, and it explains the thought patterns behind the physical symptoms of every disease. And this is actually also proven scientifically. So the main conflict is low self-worth. Most of us have it. I had it. It's a conflict of gestures that we make or were done to us. Meaning, I had my rheumatoid arthritis mostly in my knees and my hands. It was because I was doing something wrong with my hands. And my emotions were, oh, you're no good for nothing. And that's what I heard since I was probably born. And no one ever celebrated my successes, but everybody noticed my failures. And my failures were pointed at me, and it gave me severe pain. Severe pain in the fingers. Isn't it fascinating how that it wasn't just me, how I started to believe that my doing with my hands, anything I do is a failure, but also others pointing at me. And remember, it all started with a belief. I started believing it. So, what the gesture means to us, like I explained, someone was pointing at me. It's bad gestures, it's suppressed gestures, it's gestures related to a job. Like, oh God, I'm trying so hard with my hands at my job, but I'm not getting promoted. That means I must not be worth anything. Thus, the rheumatoid arthritis. It happens. Um, I'm trying to do something, build something with my hands, and it's a failure. And this is how the body reacts. So in recall healing, Dr. Gilbert Renaud explains that the brain already has all the tools to heal, but when it feels the conflict is not resolved, it will continue with the chronic symptoms. Meaning, unless you feel your worth increasing, the brain will continue showing it where the emotional issue is. So you're wanting to give our best, but the gesture is demanding. Like, I'm really bad at gardening. No matter what I do, like it just doesn't work for me. And so if I continue to do it instead of accepting it that okay, you just suck at it, but you're good at other things, if I continue to try and fail, perhaps I need a teacher, perhaps I need classes, perhaps I need lessons. But if I continue and fail, then my brain will send signals to the body to show me that this is what's happening. So it's pretty simple, but sometimes it's hard to identify what is causing it. And then with the knees, so it has a couple of meanings. So it's an act in recall healing. It is also active fight with current problem. Now I have a video on shoulders, knees, and hips because it's very specific pain. But for me, the knees were, I was unable to bend. I was unable to change my perspective about the problem, about the situation, about my life. I felt like I was stuck without understanding that I'm keeping myself stuck. I know it could be confusing and a lot. So recall healing, chronic rheumatoid arthritis only remains when the problem develops for many years and the brain does not get a signal that this is resolved. And an example, just out of the book, dropping hot iron, hurting someone, and then rheumatoid arthritis touches the finger or hands because you feel like, oh my God, I did something so horrible. Yeah, and it also could have been one time I dropped hot soup on my son. Could have also been the reason. And then when the body felt safe enough, when I addressed the emotions, when I understood that I am enough, I accept myself with all my flaws. And yes, accidents do happen, and I never did that on purpose. I'm not going to be beating myself up for the rest of my life. Then the brain sends the signals to heal. I also have a wonderful webinar on self-acceptance, which is on my YouTube, which I highly recommend you watch if you need help in that department. So it is also a secret conflict with the mother, sometimes very hard to find. Was there anything that was repelling about your mother from your childhood, from your adulthood? Do you hold resentment to your mother? I know I did. It is a secret feeling that is always negative. It's either your mother did something that said something to you and you really kept it within you. And that is something for you to answer for yourself. And we're going to talk about it in energy part, but anything with the hands, because the hands are the most yin, most feminine part of your body, it is always a relationship to your mother. Your feet is your father. But when we're still on the emotional aspect, and I highly recommend you read all the books by Florence Scovel Shinn. She changed my life. She explained so much to me. I am so grateful to have found her in my life because she deepened my relationship with the Creator. And she says, continual criticism produces rheumatism. Continual criticism. As critical and harmonious thoughts cause unnatural deposits in the blood, which settle in the joints. False growths are caused by jealousy, hatred, unforgiveness, fear. Every disease is caused by a mind not at ease. And I was very critical when I had rheumatoid arthritis. I was critical my whole life, but that's what I learned. That was a pattern in my home. It took a lot to break that pattern, to start noticing the best in every situation. I literally retrained my mind to see the positives in the worst case scenarios. It wasn't hard because I had a lot of help from Florence, from Wallace D. Wattles, from many other authors that I share. I share on my Instagram every year. I do a post on a book that I read that changed my life. And so, continual criticism, guys, that is a behavior pattern that we inherit from elsewhere. We are not born with it. No baby is born criticizing, but the baby will the child will then criticize if that's what it's shown. So, which one of your parents, grandparents, caretakers was critical? Was criticizing, because that's where you learned it. But guess what? As an adult, you can unlearn those patterns. Think about it. Do you have a tendency to concentrate on something good or something bad? When your children come to you, do you always discourage them and see first the negatives? Or do you support them and see the potential benefits of every situation? It's something for you to think about. How did I get rheumatoid arthritis at 33, if you ask? Well, my anger destroyed my liver. I carried so much suppressed anger at my parents, at their divorce, at the neglect I received, I was invisible. There was a lot of childhood trauma there. Also resentment towards my mother. Now I accept, now I understand, I healed. In order to get to where I am, I had to heal my father's wound, my mother's wound, and a narcissistic wound. Not accepting my mother is like not accepting 50% of you. Remember, when you do not accept one of your parents, you are 50% your mother and you are 50% your father. So you're literally rejecting half of your body, and the body will show you, because every single cell in your body listens to your thoughts at all times. And the biology of the cell tells us that if you have negative feelings towards one of your creators, then it's like you're rejecting yourself. You keep yourself stuck. That's what I did. I kept myself in this prison of beliefs. I share with you everything I've done in regards to my beliefs in the program available on my website, umlacademy.com. So criticizing others and myself. Oh, I was my biggest critic. Whenever I would look in the mirror, I would never see anything positive. Always something bad. Oh, you're getting old. Oh, you have wrinkles. Oh, you have horrible eyebrows, or your hair, oh, the gray hair, or the love handles, or something was always wrong. I couldn't just say, I like you. You're the body I was giving. I like you. I couldn't. And nobody taught me that. And then next was the poor diet. And then bad addictions. Yes, I smoked. Yes, I drank alcohol, which people like me with MTHFR gene mutation cannot be doing, which caused severe DAO gene mutation, histamine intolerance, you named it, I had it. So those were my reasons. And let's go into the third one. And we'll go through what actually step by step what helped me get out of rheumatoid arthritis. But first, let's discuss energetical traditional Chinese medicine aspect. So there's two main meridians involved in rheumatoid arthritis, and that is the energy of the meridian. So the liver meridian is anger, and then the kidney meridian is fear. And if you watched my video on shoulders, hips, and knee pain, that goes more into the detail of gallbladder meridian, which is resentment or suppressed anger. So that kind of anger, like I had to rediscover all the anger from childhood, because I was raised to be a good girl, a people pleaser. So I was not allowed to express anger as a child. So I had so much anger boiling up, and I literally had to let it go, just speak it up. Why was I angry? Because I wasn't allowed as a child, but as an adult, I am. And so same thing with fear. The things that the more fear we carry, the more we attract that which we fear. I attracted it all. I was afraid of disease. I got it. I was afraid of a divorce. I got it. I was afraid of debt. I got it. Instead of concentrating on the possibilities in life. I concentrated on my fears and they manifested right in front of my eyes. We are very powerful manifestors, but instead of concentrating on what we do want, we concentrate on what we don't want. So let me be a lesson for you. Concentrate on the good, on what you would like to achieve. So in traditional Chinese medicine, like I said, the hands are your relationship with the mother. Anything with the hands, dry skin, cracking skin, brittle nails, deformations, pain. Is your relationship with your mother painful? Is it dry? Is it hurtful? Is it unpredictable? Because that's exact how you describe your hands, you describe your mother. Mine are very nice. I love it now. But I have many photos of my skin cracking. Like I went through periods where I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't even unscrew a bottle. I couldn't lift a fork. It was bad. And in the same way, I could have described my relationship to my mother, which was nothing to do with her. Nothing. When we heal our relationship with our mother, we heal our perspective. We do not heal the other person. We do not change the other person. We do not fix them. It is our perspective to understand and not to blame. The feet, same thing, is your father. And then shoulder, hips, and knees, that's the gallbladder meridian, which is suppressed resentment. Pain always tells us that there is stuck emotions, something unresolved. So we're either talking about anger, fear, resentment. What is it that bothers you that you never talked about? That is something for you to answer. And there's a wonderful book by Colin Tipping I recommend it a lot because it really changed my perspective on how not to play the blaming game. And I started to play understanding game because everything in our world has a reason, everything, no exceptions. And so if you understand the reasons, you understand it's not personal. Nothing is personal. But you really have to follow that path. So Radical Forgiveness is the book. It's an amazing book. Write it down. Colin Tipping, Radical Forgiveness. Amazing, amazing story. So what did I do to get better? How did I get better? I did those things. I did acupuncture. I did winter swimming. I did herbs. I did emotional work. I did red light therapy. And I did acupressure. That's what worked for me. Again, we all have different root causes. We are all bio-individual, and I will never, ever guarantee that what worked on me will work on you. No, that's not how it works. But I am sharing here with you what I did to make it go away, and it did. And for the last, 6 years, it hasn't returned. I don't think it will because I continue preventative lifestyle. So I don't think any of my previous diagnoses will ever return. So acupuncture. I did acupuncture for 2 years, guys, 2 years. That was a huge investment. It's amazing for acute pain. It kind of works like a painkiller pill, but without the side effects. So the duration of it, it can work for you for anything from 5 to 7 days. For some people, I remember in a clinical internship, an acupuncture clinic, there was one patient and it only worked for him for 2 days, but he had very stuck emotions, so nothing would have worked on him, literally, because he refused to address his emotions. Without herbs by itself, it did nothing for me. Like I said, it was just to cover up the symptom, which I didn't know at the time. So find a practitioner who practices Qigong, because I always say if you can't see the energy, you can't move the energy, and it moves blood. And in a lot of the instances is the blood that is stuck. So it's not just the energy that is stuck, but the energy literally prevents blood from circulating correctly. And so a lot of the things I did moved my blood. And because the blood moved faster, it was able to be cleansed faster, but that it took a lot of liver support, a lot. So I did winter swimming. That's me back in 2000, I think 18. That was in, I think, January. There's something called Wim Hof method, which you can look up online. He has a lot of YouTube videos. There's like practitioners. I did it with a group of people from my meditation school. You can also start with cold showers at the very end of your shower, turn it on and stay for as long as you can handle it. Yeah, there's a lot of yelling involved because I still do that sometimes. You can do a cold bath. It doesn't have to be freezing bath. You can start gradually, whatever works for you. Cold plunges, again, it moves blood. It's fascinating how it moves blood because when you go swimming in the cold, we went swimming in Lake Michigan every Sunday for 5 years, from September to May. And what it does is when you're immersed in cold water, the blood literally leaves your organs and tissues and it goes underneath your skin to give you protection, or you would literally freeze to death. That's why you have very red skin after such exposure. And then once you are out and the body returns to its normal temperature, the blood then returns to your tissues, but it's cleansed because now the lymphatic system can pick up a lot of debris. So again, it moves blood and it helps to cleanse it. And it did wonders. But let me tell you, sometimes I had such severe pain in my hands. It was worse. But it lasted for like 2 hours and then it went away. And then gradually it got better and better and better. But I just stuck with it. I was just like, nope, I was determined. And I do have to tell you that my entire healing started with a decision. I made a decision one night that I will be healthy, and that decision became a blind conviction. Like there was no questioning it. I didn't care how. I just decided that as a mother, my children deserve a healthy mother. And that's it. There's no going back. Like I'll do anything. And the universe started guiding me to where I will find that. So it literally my healing manifested just as much as my diseases did, because my diseases came from a decision to be stuck, hating, angry, criticizing, forever victim mode. And then I went to no, I'm empowered. I can do this. My children deserve best. And so I used them. Yeah, I say that I used them as a motivation, and they motivate me until today to be the best version of myself. And I'm very grateful for them because I know I probably would have never, ever get to where I am without their motivation. Herbs, that was the biggest change that really did the trick for me. Again, I cannot guarantee you what it will do to you, because if you take herbs, but you're still critical, you're still stressed, nothing will work. I am a Cellcore practitioner now. I was their client for many years before I became their practitioner. I literally went to medical grad school and got my master's in herbal medicine in order to be their practitioner. This is my practitioner code. If you send me a message on Instagram, I will send you the link. On Instagram, my account is Universal Mama Lena Academy, or you can go to cellcore.com and put in my code. And you can also contact me through my website, umlacademy.com. And on my website, guys, I have a free meditation for you to help release your stress and bring awareness, breathing technique. And I have a free ebook too. So if you are interested in my journey further, please visit that. But all the protocols I did, and I did a lot. I mean, I invested so much. It's crazy, but it worked because somehow I believe in Mother Nature. And if you believe in something in any modality, it will work for you. So if your doctor tells you, oh, this pill will just get rid of the symptoms, you believe that it'll just get rid of the symptom, but not the root cause. But the doctor cannot tell you it will get rid of the root cause because it doesn't. So you believe what the doctor will say, and that's why your symptoms keep on coming back. Everything is a placebo. It's a wonderful world of placebo. So what did I do? The best way to start is always with a jumpstart kit. Every kit or a bundle is 1 month long. The purpose of that is to get your body used to the herbal protocol. It also helps open up drainage pathways. It addresses your liver, your kidneys. It helps with your microbiome. It works with your body, not for your body. And then liver support bundle, because Think about it. Your liver and your kidneys, they filter out your blood, right? Without clean blood, you cannot have healthy tissues because it's the blood that carries the nutrients. So we want to support our liver and we want to support our kidneys as much as we can. And then next is the detox bundle, which helps all your detox organs, which includes your intestines, which includes your skin, your lung, and it helps because your body is struggling with releasing something. And herbs are so fantastic. They don't just work on the physical level, they go into the emotional level as well because they have the power. Their essence enters the meridians, it enters your energetic pathways within your body. This is the magic of Chinese medicine, guys. I am fascinated by it. And so, besides the protocols, I do other supplements. Me support helps to release the stress that I'm carrying. It helps me release that triggered stuck emotion, that whatever it may be for you. It's a wonderful supplement, especially if you live in chronic stress and high stress. So Glynaactive is beautiful, beautiful supplement that is, it's a drinking powder that helps support your own body's glutathione production because it has all the amino acids your liver needs to regenerate itself. And so healthy liver, healthy life. So I would not go without this. There's so many studies on it now. Guys, it's amazing. And of course, Core Nutrients, which is multivitamin that is most bioavailable out there. There isn't a better one. And yes, I invest in my supplements because I am worth it, and so are you. And then we go to Foundational Protocol, which is the master of protocols. Now, what I didn't say before was that one of the reasons I got sick was because we were living in mold, because I had a root canal that was infected that I didn't know at the time. And an infected root canal is like an open pathway for parasites. And if you read this book, which I always have on my desk, The Cure for All Diseases by Dr. Hulda Clark, she will tell you that the reason for any and every symptom is a parasite. And who am I? Who am I to argue with a doctor? Because she was a doctor. And so at the very beginning of my journey, I did Foundational Protocol twice. And yes, I had many parasites leave. So I had a roundworm infestation, hookworm infestation, and liver flukes. And they all could have been the reason for the symptoms that I was getting. Yeah. And I always say you don't know you have parasites until step 2, because this is a 4-month-long protocol. It addresses it all. So the first step is Jumpstart Kit, which helps you get prepared. Second and third step is when the magic happens, when we get rid of the parasites. And the last step is a deeper detox support, which helps with heavy metal detoxification, because parasites, they hold on to so many heavy metals and we all accumulate them. So in a way, we can say that they kind of save our life. Everything in our body is perfect. It already is. The only way you get sick is if there's no balance. It could be emotional balance, energetical balance, fluid imbalance, mineral imbalance, vitamin imbalance, some sort of imbalance. Okay. And this is what I love about herbal protocols, because they help our emotions to get released, to get the energy moving within us. Those 2 protocols saved my life. This is why when it started, when the remission started, it was my dream to be a cell course practitioner in order to help others to get to where I am today. And here I am telling you about my story, which is, to me, it is a dream come true. So let's get more to the emotional work I did. So in order to support my clients, all my CellCore clients receive 2 private webinars, which is a lifestyle changes and emotional balance. It's, again, not a medical advice, but I share with you what worked on me. You get a free masterclass, everything you need to know about parasites, but do what works for you, guys. In order to get to where I am, I did therapy, I did workshops, I did retreats, hundreds of books. I read about 25 to 30 books per year, hundreds of books. And I listen to podcasts. So getting the information, the mind can only change your habits if it has enough wisdom and logic. And so the information is crucial for your mind. The more you get the wisdom, the magic of the logic, the more you're able to say, oh, this is good for me. Oh, I know that this is bad for me. And you learn to say yes or no because you're learning to work with your body. Your body always tells you guys, you have to become your own observer. When you become your own observer, the body then will, whenever first symptom occurs, you will already know if it's something that you ate, because your body will tell you how you feel after you eat, 2-3 hours afterwards, if you're energetic, if you have a lot of energy, if you have a good mood, if you're productive, you know you ate something good. But if you feel like, oh God, I need another coffee or a nap, yeah, then imbalance happens. And there is no one diet fixes it all. You have to know what's good for you. Like for me, I cannot have carbs for breakfast. I don't eat carbs till my second meal because I just know that in the past, with all my genetic issues and histamine intolerance, I cannot have things that are high in carbs in the morning. But this is me. I figured out what works for me, and so can you. You can figure out what works for you. You are not fatigued because you're missing coffee. There's another reason. You're either dehydrated, or there's a mineral imbalance, or there's something in your body that doesn't belong. Seriously, guys, read this book, The Cure for All Diseases by Dr. Hulda Clark. She gives all the answers in there. I did red light therapy. So I work with Orion RLT. If you're interested in your own red light therapy device, my discount code is Mama Lena. It must be a strong light, guys. I read a book about red light therapy. Unfortunately, those cheap ones for $20 or $100 will not work. Don't kid yourself. If you want something that works, get a medical grade one. Also, for it to fully work, what I found out is that when you're sitting, you're still using muscles. And when you're standing, you're still using muscles. The best way to get red light exposure is when you lay down. This is why when we go sun tanning, we lay down and we relax. Why? Because when your connective tissue is relaxed, your muscles can relax. And then the light can penetrate through the skin into the organs in order to send correct signals of healing. This is something that I read in the books and something that works for me. And Orion RLT has that wonderful one that you can put above your body when you lay down. So this, and again, you have to be consistent with red light therapy. If you do it once or twice a week, it will not work. And it's amazing for seasonal affective disorder. Like in winter, I put it out first thing in the morning. Oh my goodness, guys, it does wonders. It has so many benefits. Read it up. But this was part of my healing. I still use it till today. This is my pain go-to remedy. Excuse me, I did acupressure. I did it the hardcore way. Yes, I did it on the nail bed, as you can see on the bottom photo. You don't have to do that hardcore. Yeah, it was part of my meditation classes when we were initiated with the metal element. But nowadays, it's much easier. I use the Pranamat from pranamat.com. Again, discount code Mama Lena. It calms down the nervous system. It helps with meridian circulation, and it helps your blood moving. At first, you start slowly. You start by 5 minutes, then you start by 10, then you go to 10 minutes, then you go, you increase as you go. Now I can lay down on it for like 40 minutes and I'm totally fine. And it is not just calming down the nervous system, but it just gives you that inner peace. I usually put some classical music in the background. I dim the lights. I tell my kids that this is just me time, and I relax the mind, and I just become present with my breath, and I feel, because you will feel it on your back, especially. Everything happens on your back, guys. I mean, that's your kidney meridian, that's your bladder meridian. Everything happens there. So we want to make sure that our energy is circulating correctly. And again, I did this every day. So, and I also would stand on my prana mat. I didn't stand that much on my nail bed, but I did stand on the prana mat because it helps to bring circulation back into the feet as well. So this is something for you to consider. Again, remember, I'm telling you what worked for me. You may believe it, but you don't have to. Everything is questionable. And like I said, because we all have different root causes, if you have parasites and you never did a parasite cleanse and you buy a prana mat, it will do nothing. So for me, still, number one step is to always do an herbal cleanse. Always. There's no other way. Let's go back to some of my favorite quotes by Florence Scovel-Shinn and what she tells us in her wonderful book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. So she says that unforgiveness is the most prolific cause of disease. It will harden arteries or liver and affect the eyesight. In its train are endless ills. I forgive everyone and everyone forgives me. The gate is open. The gate of my good is now open. So that's the affirmation that I used. And I did this affirmation for years before it actually started working, before there was actually intention behind this affirmation. But I wrote it down on a post-it note and I put it on my bathroom mirror. And every day I would say, I forgive everyone and everyone forgives me, because I was holding so many grudges. It overwhelmed my body, it overwhelmed my energy, it overwhelmed my cells. I was continuously producing neuropeptides of hate. And so when those neuropeptides entered my cells simply refused to heal. Nothing was working until I started to change the way I think about the world, about myself. I had to literally reconstruct my entire perspective of the world. This is where the remission came from, guys. I changed my mind about everything, including about who I am and what I'm doing here, and my own self-worth and my own self-acceptance. And there's more from Florence. You guys don't understand. Florence had such a profound impact on my life that I manifested a trip to Florence with one and only Gina Devi for a retreat. Like literally, I manifested that because I continued to talk about Florence for weeks. It is safe to say that all sickness and unhappiness comes from the violation of the law of love. And the affirmation for that is, divine love floods my consciousness with health, and every cell in my body is filled with light. And so Florence also says that if you want to receive perfect love, you first have to give perfect love. And the problem with that, as I've learned, because it turned out that I wasn't as loving as I thought as I was that, and this is true, guys, but please don't confuse love with standards, okay? You should have standards. Love is something totally different. True love does not expect. So if I'm doing something for my family and I expect them to like me, acknowledge me, give me compliments, then I'm not really acting out of the love in my heart. I'm doing this because there's a benefit in it for me, because I'm looking to be validated from the outside. That's not perfect love. Perfect love is when I do stuffs for my family because I can and because I want to. And I don't care if I don't get slightest recognition, because I want to do it because I can and I want to. So I understood, reading her books, reading the Vadim Zeland book, reading Wallace D. Wattles, I understood what true love actually is and how wrong I had it. And again, not my fault, not my parents' fault, not my grandparents' fault. They didn't know. They taught me everything they knew to survive. But now it's time to thrive. And so we can change that. We can actually go into our beliefs and say, oh, this belief made me have destructive thoughts. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live in pain. I want to be energetic. I want to understand why I'm having those negative thoughts, where in reality, I really want to be a positive person because I want love. I want I want to enjoy all the benefits life has given me. And believe me when I say this, and almost every author of every book that I ever read says this, we did not come here to suffer. And we make ourselves suffer with our thinking, with our beliefs. And so this is something that I learned from Florence, and it actually made a profound change in the way I look at the world and in how my body felt. So there's more. There's more, but I could probably spend a few hours lecturing on this. So Alfred Adler's teaching, he was one of the titans of psychology back in the 70s, among with Freud and Carl Jung, but he was forgotten. And so his teachings are not as popular, but I really enjoy his teachings. There's a wonderful book called Courage to be Disliked. And so Adler's teachings explain to us that everything, even every disease, brings you some kind of benefit. Now, if this triggers you right away, there's something unprocessed behind that. Because if you ask, why would I make myself have this pain? Well, if you told me this 11 years ago, I would be very offended. I would tell you, you are wrong, because I would never want to make myself sick on purpose. But then today, when I look at it from a different perspective, I understand that there were things I didn't want to do. And I used the pain as an excuse. I can't do that. I'm in pain. I won't do that because then the pain will come back. So what don't you want to do? Is your disease ever an excuse? Oh, I can't hang out with you because I'm sick. I can't go right now. I'm having an episode. I have to go lay down. Sometimes we use it because we can't tell people that we don't want to be around them. So we use the excuse. Literally, we use the excuse of a disease. And I did that. I actually had a perfect excuse not to visit my family because I couldn't tell them that I think you're toxic and you're making me worse, because I had huge panic attacks whenever I would go see my family. And I didn't understand why. And that was because I had no standards and no boundaries. So I allowed everything just to be included. But my body was communicating something totally different. My body told me, nope, you're not doing that, or I'll give you the worst panic attack of your life. Like, I literally thought I was dying. So I started using the disease as an excuse not to go there. But later on, I understood that's not what I want to do. And I just became honest. And I said, listen, I think you're very critical of me. And now I communicated my standards with love. And so my standards are, I do not hang around with anybody who criticizes me, who continuously is using me, who is not supportive. I can only be around people who support me, like me for who I am, and accept me. That's it. That's all it took. I communicated with my family and they understand my standards. And so we have no more issues. But first, I had to understand the lack of boundaries and the standards. And the boundaries were not for them, they were for me. So I don't expect them to change. If they did not put in an effort to show their support, I don't care, because I still support myself. And also think about it. What is your disease preventing you from doing? Ask yourself a question. What would be the first thing you would do if the disease disappears suddenly? Like, if you know right now that there is no more disease, that the disease is gone, what is the first thing that you would want to do? Because a lot of times we forget. Maybe you want to jump, maybe you want to dance, maybe you want to run, maybe there's so many things that you could, maybe you want to swim and you were unable to. Whatever it is, think about it and imagine yourself, oh God, I can do this thing now that my disease was preventing you. Maybe you want to take a long walk, but the pain in your knees is preventing you from it. Imagine how wonderful it would be to finally take that walk. See, I thought that's because that's exactly what happened to me. I feel like I was the only person on the entire planet who wanted to exercise, who wanted to lift weights, and I couldn't, because like something was always in the way. There was always some kind of pain. And it was just so demotivating, it was devastating to me. Like, I felt that I want to be healthy, I want to work hard on my body, but I can't. And then finally, when I was able to, it was like a dream come true. Such a simple thing, guys, that exercising can do for you. And there may be many reasons how you're using your disease and as an excuse. I know people who didn't want to babysit their grandkids. I know people who didn't want to help others doing like physical things, like moving things, or I know people who couldn't say no. So they used the disease. Oh no, my knees are really hurting today. My hands are really hurting today. Instead of saying, no, I don't want to. And I learned that from Anita Morjani in her wonderful book, Dying to Be Me. We use our excuse because we can't say no. That was me. I was literally unable to say no. But if I had an excuse like, oh, I'm in pain, so no, that's a no. That was easy, right? But what would happen if I said no? Oh, I may be disliked, not accepted. So what? So what? As long as you accept you with all your flaws, it doesn't matter. And if you say no just because you don't want to, and the other person gets offended or mad at you or isolates you, guess what? They were not your person. There was no love there, because if they cannot accept your unwillingness to do something because perhaps you don't see any benefit in whatever they were offering, and you have every right to. We say yes so many times when we're supposed to say no. It's scary. That's how I got married. Everything within me screamed no, but I couldn't say it. So I said yes, and then I paid the price. So we all do it. And that is, again, not our fault. It is not our parents' fault. We were raised that way because it's polite. Polite. In parentheses, it's very, very polite to say yes. Well, today, I don't care who doesn't like me. And today, if you call me and you ask me to do something and it's way out of my way and I just feel like it will not benefit me in any way, I'll say, no, thank you. I'm good. And I also learned that I don't owe anybody any explanations. And if I'm tired and my body's telling me I'm tired, I don't need an excuse of a disease to go lay down, because it's also a preventative measure. You have to understand the body communicates with you that it's tired and it wants you to rest. And if you ignore it, it will give you symptoms so severe, it will make you lay down in bed. And sometimes we need it. This is what happens when people get the flu, the cold, because the body literally making them rest. This is how our body communicates. Isn't it fantastic? So in traditional Chinese medicine, we say the body is a map. There is always communication present. Can you really say yes when you mean yes, and no when you mean no? Can you say it without explaining yourself? Oh, I shouldn't because maybe something's gonna hurt, or this is too much. You can just say no. No, you can. You're allowed to. And your value will not decrease just because you don't feel like doing something. And if you listen to other people and not your body first, that's not good. This is what I encourage. I encourage, first and foremost, for you to learn to listen to your body. Start with little things. Start with seeing how your body feels after eating. Then I want you to observe when your pain is the worst. And I want you to acknowledge what happened before. Is it when you meet a specific person? Is it when you were maybe working and it brought you stress? Then we know the reason. So we either change our mindset about the stress or start looking for a different job. It's very simple. But staying in a situation that brings you pain, anxiety, is not healthy. But sometimes all you have to do to resolve the issue is change your own perspective, understanding that everybody is neutral. Nothing is happening on purpose. It is literally your subconscious that attracts or repels. So you either attract the bad people in, but you repel the ones that you want. And we don't know why. Well, it has a beginning in your beliefs. If you believe you're not worthy, that's what you will receive. And many of us didn't have correct parental support when we were growing up. We were not encouraged and we were not visible. We were not, because one of my emotional benefits of being sick is attention. I got so much attention. And I remember as a child, when I would get sick, I get undivided attention of my mother and father. And I loved it, but it lasted only for as long as I was sick. I loved to be sick as a child. And that belief carried on with me into my adulthood. And so I understood consciously, I don't want to be sick, right? I don't want to be sick. I don't want to die. I don't want to have all of those autoimmune diseases. But on the unconscious level, because I felt invisible in my marriage, in my friend group, in my family, I always felt invisible. I was the one that you call when you want something, not the one that you call when you want to hang out. So I felt inadequate. I felt like I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I have to try harder. I'll make them like me. So I'll say yes to everything. And then I'll make myself sick so they'll pay attention to me. Very destructive pattern. Now, I'm not saying that this is you, but I'm saying that Adler's teachings really spoke to me. So he has two books. The first one is Courage to be Disliked, and the second one is Courage to be Happy. I highly encourage you read both of them. Again, I'm always throwing books out there because I want your mind to have wisdom and logic in order to proceed to change of habits, because it's our habits. Whenever we say yes, when we want to say no, guys, that's when the body, you're acting against your body. I did a lot of that. A lot. Especially in my marriage. I couldn't say no. So my body stopped trusting me. And for a long time, no matter what I did, my body would be like, I don't care you have a healthy diet, healthy lifestyle. I don't trust you because you do things against me. First and foremost, find your safety wherever you feel the safest, and then start noticing when that safety is gone, around who. That's how conflicts come up to the consciousness. So we understand, oh, this person, oh, this person, oh, this person. For me, the biggest eye-opener was when I understood when I stop being myself and I become someone else. When do I become a people's pleaser? When I understood that, because I am a very calm and quiet person. But when I start talking, well, right now I'm lecturing, so it doesn't count. But when I start talking for no reason, just so that I'm talking in front of a person, right away I start to wonder, who is this girl? Because that's not me. And that's when I usually understand the pattern that, oh, my people pleaser is on. I want to be liked again. I guess I forgot that I already accept myself and I don't need for anybody to like me. So once you start recognizing the patterns that come up, the body will start to trust you again. And the body will understand that, oh, so they're not against me. So I'll stop attacking my own cells. So this is part of recall healing explanation, because autoimmunity is the same as autoaggression, which basically means that the body wants one thing, but the mind says something else, and there's no compromise. So it's something for you to consider. Again, that book really, really helped me. Thank you Find me on Instagram, guys. I am always present. Universal Mama Lena Academy. I have so much information to share there. Visit umlacademy.com. That's where I have my free ebook, free meditation, many other masterclasses, programs, and materials for you to educate yourself. And please, please, please stay interested in your health. Like I said, we all have different root causes. All of us, no exception. There is no one diagnosis system in traditional Chinese medicine. We recognize it as patterns, and there's as many patterns as there is people because we get sick for different reasons. It may be mold, parasites, negative thinking, infected root canal, the environment, stressful situation. We are all so bio-individual based on our beliefs, thoughts, the body response, your emotional state. Now, I also don't believe that there is a bad thing that wouldn't turn into something good eventually. And Tony Robbins taught me this wonderful trick to refocus my emotional state. So if a situation is really bad, or I'm triggered by someone, or I am very offended, which hardly ever happens, but if it does, there's one question I always ask myself. What is good in this situation? And I ask this question also when I am in severe pain, which hasn't happened in many years. But if for any reason I get any ache, the first question I go to is, what is good in this situation? What is this pain trying to show me? Teach me. It didn't happen for no reason. Usually it's related to a situation or a conversation or a person. And then that sends me a signal. Did I react adequately? Is there a boundary there? Maybe it's below my standards and my body's communicating to me that, oh, maybe I was a people's pleaser again. Are all patterns like to return? So instead of saying, why is this happening to me again? I always ask, what is good about this situation? And today, 11 years later from when I was diagnosed, I can tell you that I am so very grateful for all of my diseases because without them, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't understand it, and I wouldn't know what my purpose in life is. So I'm very, very, very grateful to them for they taught me everything that I needed to know that I wasn't recognizing in my life. And with that said, any questions, please let me know. Find me on Instagram, again, Universal Mama Lena Academy. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.